All right. We back again. Good Money Podcast. Guytho the Great. Here at my right-hand man over here.
What's up, everybody? Good Money Pal at the Good Money Podcast. Hope this finds you well. We are back.
Yes, we are back. I think we took like a hiatus for a week. Busy schedules, so we had to come back this week.
Yeah, man. You see, I got the puffer on. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to get a little nippy out here. Keeping that in mind, I can't help but notice that oil prices are starting to tick up.
Yeah, I seen a few go down a little bit, and now they're starting to come back up. My favorite, once again, I mentioned all the time, ONE, they took a little drop, but they're on their way back up. I already know winter's coming, it's going to get cold, and like you said, those prices are going to start moving in the direction we need it to move.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things, it's a non-negotiable, right? It's one of those things where you can't stop the change of the seasons. It's going to come. So you just may as well position yourself in front of that, right? And us smart shareholders, that's what we're doing. We understand that the weather is going to shift, the season is going to change. And so it's probably a good idea to be looking at energy-related companies because we got to keep those houses warm.
I agree. Hey, my mom called me the other day. They had 35, 40 in Georgia.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I know. She had choice words for you. I know.
Man, Haitian parents.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Yeah.
She was upset. She was like, I don't know why I moved down here. Now they want to move to Florida.
How long they been down there in Georgia?
Georgia, because I took over the Brentwood house around 2005. 2005, They moved to Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
They've been down there a minute. So they've seen a lot of change, man.
Yeah. A lot.
Wow.
That's
what's up. That's what's up, man. So yeah, we got a busy week of earnings this week. Let's talk about what, just passed that things, people should be familiar with. So you remember we were discussing on a previous episode about real estate investment trust, right? So I'm looking here at the calendar. It looks like AGNC, ticker symbol AGNC. That's a mortgage REIT. Remember I was telling you about those mortgage REITs?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that one recently reported earnings. And so, it looks like it's on the uptick. So it looks like the earnings may have been good. Let's see what we got. So they were looking for 38 cents a share. They reported 35 cents, so a slight miss. So about close to 10% in terms of earnings per share on the downside. But their revenue, they were expecting $883 million for the quarter. They actually reported $903 million. So they were able to capture an additional close to $20 million in additional revenue, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's definitely a plus. So stock right now sitting at $10 a share. And it looks like it's moving higher as far as where it's been.
What was the ticker on that again?
Adam, Gary, Nancy, Charlie.
Okay, I see it.
But remember, even though it's a real estate investment trust, their underlying business is mortgage-backed securities, right?
Yeah.
So those are interest rate sensitive.
That's something you always got to look at.
Absolutely. And so earlier this week, we had some of the banks report. Did you see the news on Zion Bank?
Zion? No, I'm not familiar, no.
Yeah, so Zion had recently reported a couple of these regional banks are being impacted by unforeseen charge-offs, right? So I think Zion reported
yes, I did
something
see
to the tune of about $100 million in losses, right? And that correlates to some of these regions that I'm seeing in the real estate space that are experiencing an uptick in loan fraud, occupancy fraud, DSCR fraud, So yeah, there's a lot of nefarious activity going on. And you're starting to see chinks. You're starting to see chinks as far as these banks are concerned, as far as their revenues are concerned. So that's something to definitely keep our eyes on.
Yeah, you think that's really having a big effect on the banks as of right now?
Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, had some interesting commentary. He said, when you see a cockroach, there's typically more cockroaches around, right? So
I heard that one.
Yeah, those words were choice words that he used. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's truth to what he's saying, So I would say to you that definitely raised an eyebrow, seeing those banks, all of them take a hit like that. I want to say it was about 4 or 5 regional banks that are publicly traded that all were reporting similar charge-off activity, similar default activity to the tune of $50 million, $100 million, $150 million, $200 million in defaults and charge-offs, right? So definitely something to keep on the radar. The consumer is under pressure out here. Like I tell people, it's skinny outside.
Yeah, It's hard times coming all around. I was in New York seeing all the prices out there, and I was just like, oh my God, I
We
gotta go
ran
back
you
to
up out of here?
PA. Yeah, man. I'm like, I'm going back to PA, man. This is ridiculous out here. It goes, it's like there's so much going on with inflation, and I'm looking at it, it's hard for people to make it right now. And it's like if you're not doing something, I don't know, like people have to figure it out. And like we keep saying, it's always investment, 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 learning how to invest and everything of that nature.
Yeah. I think you had asked me a question of what somebody would do with a certain amount of money if they were just getting started, right? And I want
Yeah.
to piggyback on that again. People should definitely always be investing in themselves, right? Because your highest and best is going to come from earned income or earned opportunities for yourself, and then you take that new income and you're deploying it into investments, right? Too often we find people who they want to trade for a living or they want to invest for a living, and they get this idea that they can just trade stocks for a living, and then when the market does something that they consider to be irrational and they get caught out there, now we're dealing with a bunch of tears and blown up accounts, right? So we
Yeah.
did see that recently with a crypto blow up. I know we saw a major pullback in the crypto markets, and they were saying a couple million accounts were completely blown up because people are using a lot of leverage.
Yeah, that's the big thing, the leverage play. Everybody's talking about the plays, the plays, the plays, and you know, I think it's always best longevity and trading for the long term is where you really win. And a lot of people lost money with that leverage. And it's when that money gets called in, you know what I mean? You gotta pay the piper, as they say. So I did see that Bitcoin dropped a lot. I seen also our favorite gold had a little drop as well.
I'm
So
licking my chops right now. I'm waiting. Come on
yeah,
down.
right. That's the
Come
way
on.
I'm looking at it. I'm
That's
not
it.
mad at all.
I'm not worried about. Oh no, I'm excited. Yes, please come on down. Bring that gold down because I'm looking to load right back up, man. But
Yeah.
you know what I have noticed, just like talking about the leverage products, I'm
Hmm.
noticing that there's a lot more availability of these ETFs that have leverage behind them. I'm noticing that,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this: some of them I've actually used myself as far as the leverage products are concerned. Because when you know what you're doing, it does work. It works well for you. But if you
Yeah.
do get caught on the wrong side of that leverage trade or that power saw, right? Like we had talked about,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
Hand get cut right off.
yeah, right. It's a lot easier to bandage your hand after a handsaw. You were pulling and it didn't quite hit the right spot, and now you got to cut, right? But a power saw is a lot more unforgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So I know a lot of people were just cashing out, I feel, on the gold. It came up so fast. A lot of people took their profits. I think there's been a lot of cashing out, a lot of correction. But again, the long term, I think, is definitely moved for the long term. So just like you, I'm looking forward to these drops and these corrections and just adding more, adding more. Same thing with the Bitcoin. I see Bitcoin drop. I'm not mad. I'm in at a great price, so a lot of these drops don't affect me too much. And it's to me, it's just like, all right, that's a nice drop. Let me add a little more. Let me add a little more. Because again, for me, everything I mostly trade in is long term longevity. I'm not looking to cash out right now. There's certain areas like I was looking at my Reddit. I was looking at Reddit today, and I'm
The
thinking of
stock or the stock or the platform?
the stock, the stock.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking like, maybe it's time for me to, to end this off and take my profits. I've done so well on it right now and I see it starting to come back down. Let me see where it's at now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Last trade
yes.
196.
96. Yes. On this. I'm in at 53. You know what I mean? And I already took 50% when it hit like 220 back in the beginning of the year. So I just have my last bit in there and I'm like, all right, it's coming down. So I'm like, I'll probably just take the rest of my money out there and see, either wait for it to move in the opposite direction or maybe move into something else. So that was something I was thinking about.
You think it trades higher?
It looks like, I think, looking at the charts and just from me reading the charts, I think it might end up going back down to maybe 140 in that area. It's at 196 now. And you can see from 140 to 180, it had a big jump. So just from just watching things, I'm thinking it might go back and fill that gap. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take this money that I have now and cash. I already cashed out, so I'm up. Even right now with what's left, I'm up over 100%. So like,
If you still want exposure to this, right? You could always liquidate shares, and then you can always look back at buying a leap or buying leaps on it,
leaps on
right?
it there.
When the pullback does happen, because there is a gap to fill at around 160 on the chart.
Yep. Yeah. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, there's
So I
definitely
figured
a
it'll
gap
go
to fill.
down, about 160. I don't know if it'll go all the way down to 140, but me looking at the chart, I see a lot of support there at the 140 line. Like I said, I always go back to the 5 year. I go from the 5 year to the 1 year, and that's kind of how I look at the stocks and try to see the patterns. And again, I made my money with this already, and I'm like, all right, I might as well just cash out and move that money into something else, or maybe even, take your advice and go that route.
Yeah, so last 6 quarters, just looking back at historical earnings as far as quarterly earnings are concerned, last 6 quarters, it has gone up 4 out of 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
So the last report was back in July. That's where you got that gap. It popped
Yeah,
seven and a
in
half
August,
percent
yeah.
to the upside, right? And then actually, yeah, so you got 7.5%, and I believe the highest point was 17.5% for the day. Okay, so there was definitely a lot of buying activity. They probably reported a really, really strong report there. The May quarter was soft, down 4.2%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the quarter before that was the February quarter. That was up 1.3%. So you got an upcoming earnings report on that one on October 3rd, and they're expecting 51 cents a share in earnings and about 548 million in revenue, right? So what you need is you need them to exceed. I would say you need them to exceed revenue and issue continued upside guidance. If they do issue continued upside guidance, that's where you'll get a push to new highs, some price discovery. But
Yeah,
it is kind of long in the tooth, and it has only been a publicly traded company for 2 years.
2 years. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's the thing. It has come a long way since its debut back in
yeah.
what's that, January of
January.
2024.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got in way back then. I got in at 53. I rode it all the way to its high. Like
Hmm.
220 was the high back then. Once it hit that and started coming back down, I sold 50% and I just held the rest, let it ride. I already got my investment money out of there, plus some, and I was just letting it ride. So now I see it's like starting to repeat what it did when it hit 220. So last time it hit 220, it came all the way down to almost a little bit under 100. So that's what I was looking at. I see it now hitting 282, which is a new high, and it's starting that same pattern back down.
I
That's
see.
kind of what I was basing my everything else. So I was like, all right, before it goes too far down, let me just cash out, get my money out of it. What I'm saying, all green all the way around on this one. So
You
that was
can never
my
go
trend
broke
of
taking a
thought.
profit,
That's the truth. That's the
right?
truth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of hard to do. Okay, so Reddit is a great performer for you. What else do you got that you're looking at, that you're holding on to?
let me see another stock that's my go-to, and it's one of my long terms. I love. I just add on to it whenever I can. I actually took. I probably sold like 10 shares out of it to put into some ETFs, but that's Apple. Apple is one that it just keeps going up. It hit new highs. I feel like everybody downplays Apple. They question. They keep selling the same phone over and over again. They're not updating. They're not doing anything like that. So it's like I don't know. The stock prices are saying different. You know what I mean?
They actually reported sales on the new phone, and the phone sales were ahead of expectations. That's the reason for the pop. And then I think that a lot of people don't understand Apple's business in general. So Apple, right? There's a lot of other publicly traded companies that
Mm-hmm.
basically, help Apple to produce that finished product, right? And so I would say, as far as my knowledge is concerned, there's at least 7 or 8 different publicly traded companies, from the glass to the power amplifiers to the battery to the
Exactly.
back glass to the cameras. to the actual technology that connects the phone, actual to third-party cell towers. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
A lot of people
businesses
be eating
involved.
when them Apple phones get sold. And so
Exactly.
what I tell people to do is when they want to get a deeper understanding, right, of the companies that are in partnership with Apple, it's easy. You can just kind of do like an iPhone teardown, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you can go on to any search engine and just type in iPhone teardown and just add publicly traded companies to that query. And you'll probably get a website that'll show you what parts and components are actually inside the phone. And if you look at those charts for those publicly traded companies and you see what Apple's doing, you'll see there's a correlation in terms of performance, right?
Performance. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
know what's big too? And I was listening to what's his name? Mad Money. What's the guy? Kramer, right?
Kramer,
Kramer.
yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
was listening to him, and one thing he said was like, you know, Apple gets paid almost $20 billion from Google for
Okay.
being the main search engine on their device.
Yeah,
I
on
was always
Safari.
look, yeah, I was looking like Apple's missing the boat. I don't hear nothing from them doing anything with AI. They're not involved in it. But what Kramer made clear, and I was like, okay, I understand that. He's like, see, they're getting all this money from Google for using their platform. So instead of spending so much money and creating their own AI, they could just get one of the big companies to pay them maybe 30, 40 billion so they could be, part of that infrastructure. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Because I was like, come on, Apple should be at the lead of the AI game. Their stocks keep doing good, it keeps performing, and I keep adding more. Every drop, I add a little more to it. So that's another stock that I'm highly invested in. Again, long term. So I'm up at least 92% on that one too, and I've had that for
That's
a few
strong.
years now. Yeah, I've had it for a few years.
Yeah, that's a those are strong returns, right?
Yeah,
And that is a shameless plug for own where you shop, right? Because you
of
have an
course.
iPhone.
Yes, sir. There's
So,
one, two, three. There's five. My son has an iPhone. He's not two yet, but he just got one. It's not connected. It's one of our old iPhones. But
mhm,
if he doesn't have something in his hand, he'll be trying to take your phone every time you on it. He'll be throwing your phone. So I got an old iPhone that doesn't even really work. It got the
right.
the case on it, and I let him have away with it. But yeah, own where you shop, own where
That's
you
it.
shop. That's the motto, man.
Yes, sir. So you got as far as companies that have reported. Did you see the news on Netflix?
Netflix, yes. I don't
Yeah.
own any Netflix, but I saw a lot going on with Netflix. Netflix is pricey, man. That's a pricey one right there.
Yeah, but you know the thing, it's pricey, right? But in today's market with partial ownership, you ain't got to worry
Yeah,
about price because
yeah,
yeah, you're talking about, today the stock's down 10%. All right.
mm-hmm.
And yes, for one share, it's almost $1,200. It's $1,119 a share right now, right?
Yeah,
So, 10 years ago, that was intimidating because it's like, wow, I have to scrounge up enough money to buy one share. But if you approach it using the platforms that allow you to, buy fractional shares,
fractional shares. Yeah,
yeah, it's like I'm able to get I'm able to get Netflix for 10% cheaper than it was yesterday, right? And now guess what? You stuck $200 in there or $500 in there or whatever it is if you're dollar cost averaging, and now that stock goes up 15%, your investments went up 15% in value. Yeah, fine, you didn't own a whole share, but when you go to liquidate that position for profits, is it not worth 10 to
yeah.
15% higher if
You're
that's
right.
if that's where you sold it for profit? So I don't really get caught up in the, oh, it's 1,200 a share or it's this per share. I get caught up if first, is it a good investment overall, right? Is it a good place to park capital? Am I going to get a great rate of return? And then I'm just looking for the company to do what they do, man. I'm not really worried about the stock price. I'm worried about the performance of the company. So, Netflix is one of those ones where, as far as his earnings report is concerned, it was a bit of a surprise, especially earnings per share wise. They missed by 15%.
That's all I have to say. They didn't do well, right? That's what I remember. They
Yeah, what
didn't hit
happened
their
is
numbers.
they got hit with a surprise charge. So as I understand it, there was some dispute with a Brazilian
Brazil.
regulator. Yeah.
Brazil, yeah.
And so they got hit with that surprise charge. And I imagine that surprise charge probably contributed to such a big miss as far as earnings per share are concerned. And then they did not have the revenue to then clean up that mess. So they actually met expectations. They only really exceeded it by $1.88 million. And while, close to $2 million in upside as far as revenue is concerned, that sounds like a lot of money, but not when the company's revenue expectations were $11.5 billion for the quarter.
Yeah,
Okay.
they took a big drop from that too as well. Big drop.
So now, you kind of got to look to guidance. Yesterday in the after hours, it was down about 5 or 6%. Now it's down about 10. That means that the buyers during market hours were not showing up to buy this thing in size, right?
Yeah.
As far as Netflix is concerned, first of all, the market overall is we hit 47,000 yesterday on the Dow. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. I was looking at that too. Yeah.
So we getting a little long in the tooth, and we're talking about the consumer, and we're both seeing that the consumer is under some pressure right now. So, be mindful that, you got the weather working in our favor as far as Netflix, because there's going to be a lot of Netflixing and chilling as the weather.
And chilling, right?
Yeah. There'll be a lot of that as the weather starts to continue to shift,
Yeah,
we get into
I've seen a lot. There's been a lot of pullback in the market and stuff. A lot of these AI companies that were on a great run are starting to slow down a little bit, maybe a little bit of correction. But I've also been looking at other stocks that think what is it, 3M, MMM?
Yep.
I was looking at that one. I like it. It's looking good. I had my eye on that. I was looking at it, seeing where it's going. I know it was moving up.
And a breakout. It's breaking out right now.
Yeah, definitely had a breakout. I was thinking of getting in it this morning. Had too much stuff going on with the loans and everything that I wasn't really paying attention to the market. So I got to revisit that. So that's one I was looking at. Another one that I think has some great movement, even though I'm not a fan of GM. GM is another one. And Coca-Cola.
So Coca-Cola reported actually yesterday morning.
Yes. They had a nice jump today.
Yeah. So does Bubbly, man.
Yeah. So I was looking at that. I was thinking, it would have been nice to see. I wasn't watching this one, I think it's looking at the charts and knowing how I look at the charts, I would have probably definitely got in it once it was going down under once it went back up over 67. That's usually where I would have got back in it. Because I was just looking at the support at 66. And, that's kind of how, I do my trading. Like I do a lot of support. I try to find the support. And I saw a strong support at 66. So ideally, I would have got in once it got over 60. I would have got in and I would have caught that right there. But I wasn't, I wasn't on it like I should have been.
I'll tell you this, man. Based on what you're telling me, it sounds like dollar cost averaging would help you.
Yeah, that's what
when you make a decision. Yeah, because when you make a decision on a company like that and you just start the buy program and you just get caught up with life, you're just on an automatic buy program. It's just the frequency you got to concern yourself with, right? Is it daily? Is it weekly? Is it monthly? Typically, when I'm on a dollar cost averaging program, I typically target daily accumulation.
Yeah, daily.
Yeah, daily. I'm buying every day. Yeah. So you mentioned something that I think our audience would appreciate in terms of support, right?
Yes.
Because support is where the sellers have been exhausted, and now it's looking like the buyers may be looking to step in, right? Because really what lifts price is the buyers, and really what causes price to go down is the lack thereof of buyers. Yeah. So speaking about support, one company that has been in the headlines for quite a lot, it doesn't look like they have earnings coming up. Next report is November 19th. Target, affectionately known as Target.
Target. Yeah, they was down bad for a minute.
Yo, man.
They was trying to cancel them.
Bro, they messed with the Bayhive. Whoever they messed with. Yeah. Listen, they messed with the wrong demographic and it came back to bite them real hard, right?
Hard. Took
Hard.
almost half out of them,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, Target has been on a downtrend for the last 4 years.
Yeah. I see. Yep.
Long-term support is in the 80s. As far as now, I've been a buyer in the 80s. I would
Okay.
say 89, 90, and now it's starting to curl up. It's at 94 and change.
94. Yeah.
So I've just had a buy program going on that because my thing is this. Yeah, they may have pissed off the community, but I still, got to get my stuff from Target, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, as a shareholder, Target is going to figure it out by way of doing what they got to do to recapture the market that they lost because of poor decision making. I'll leave it at
Yeah.
that, right?
Their high is like 260, right? So they have a lot of upside. There's a lot of room for growth there. Um, I think me looking at it and just you said you've in from the 80s. I would have probably. I'm still looking for 100 to maybe get in.
You want to wait.
Just looking at it, I would have probably 90 might have been a better. Yeah, because I'm looking at it now and I'm looking at the yeah. Yeah, nah. It looks like it's about to run, right? It looks like
Yeah,
it's about to run right here, right over
Blue Horseshoe
90.
likes Target, man.
Yeah, it's definitely looks like it's gonna run over 90. Yeah.
Listen, that's a premium call. I ain't even say nothing. I'm giving you game. That's a premium right there. Target is going to be a slow. Listen, Target is going to slowly move up, and then here they're already calling for a Santa Claus rally. They're already licking their chops for Black Friday. I'm sure they're getting that foot traffic, and unfortunately, people suffer from short-term memory loss, and
That's true.
so
That's true.
you got a situation where Target is cheap right now, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Target. I've been by
I take all that back. Yeah. Right now. The time is right now. I'm just going back and I'm seeing the bounces off that 90 and
off of that 90 mark, right?
yeah, I'm seeing
Yeah,
it.
that
Yep.
yeah that 90 mark. It may dip a little below the 90 mark, but it don't stay there.
Yeah, yeah.
It don't stay there. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, the last time it was under 90, uh, let's see, it stayed there for like
Not
I'd
long
say
at
a
all.
month. I'd say a month at the most, couple weeks,
Yep.
right?
It
And
came
then
right back up.
back again. It tested under the 90s. It went as low as 85 in April. You know what I'm saying? And so um, it really needs a push past that 110 mark to really for it to really get going.
Get
If we
going,
get a
yeah.
close over 110, I think we're off to the races in terms of some upside. But now keep in mind, you know, you got a tentative earnings report. I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but it's looking like November 19th is what we're looking at. Yeah.
So on the other note of this, you would look at this as a good options play?
Yeah, I would look at this as a good option play for a couple of different directions, right? The way I would approach this from options, I would be selling cash secured puts, right? I'd be selling naked puts on this one. Why? Because what happens is when I'm selling the puts, I'm selling, let's say it's 94 and a half right now, 94 and a quarter. If I want $90, if I want to pay $90 a share, I can sell the 90 strike on the put side, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now if the stock closes below 90 by expiration, they'll assign me the shares.
Assign you shit.
And then my cost basis will be 90 less the premium that I collected, right? So if I collected $2, per contract and I sold the 90s, my cost basis is now 88,
Yeah, and you're
right?
okay with that because you're a
I'm
buyer of the
fine.
stock. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
got you.
fine. I'm fine. And so again, I would never recommend selling puts on companies that you don't want to own because if you sell a put, you're telling the market that you're okay with owning the shares at that strike price. So just be mindful of that when you're executing that strategy. Just be mindful of selling cash secured puts. But
Yeah.
if I wanted to do options on that one, I'd be selling some cash secured puts. If I wanted to go long calls, I would probably be looking at, a $100 call option and I'd give it some time because Target is not a meme stock. It's an actual real company, brick and mortar sales and things of that sort. So the beta is not going to be that high. So
That
the
high, yeah.
volatility is not going to be that high. So when it does finally change directions, it will continue in that direction unless they do something silly again or the news. I'm just calling it what it is, man. So if they do something silly again, or a major downgrade from a respectable, wirehouse,
Right,
could do
yeah.
it,
So you
or a
probably
major
go.
upgrade.
So you probably go 2026 on that one.
Yeah, no, 2025 is done, brother. Year's
Mm-hmm.
over. I know we're in October still, but
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you talking about you talking about buying December options. That's short term. You can't call that a leap.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't even thinking how close 2026 is, man.
Yeah, the year's over. Man. It's a wrap. We're almost a wrap. There's still plenty of time to get stuff done, but for the
Yeah,
sake of trading options, you know, anything from now until the end of the year, in my opinion, is short term.
short term. Gotcha.
Yeah. So like me, I think I mentioned it before, right? And I had talked about this on Facebook. Somebody had asked me about some stocks or whatever on Facebook. And I told them I like SOFI, right?
Yeah,
SOFI, however you pronounce it. So, that's been flirting with $30 a share. I got stock and I got leaps on that.
yeah. We talked
So
about SoFi last
yeah,
week. Yeah.
yeah. And that's actually down right now. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually starting to bounce. Let me see something here. So I know it was down in the 26s this morning. We're at 27 and change. But yeah, that one, I add leaps every chance I get. And I got that out till late next year on the leap side. I'm looking for
Yeah,
40. I'm looking for 40 on SoFi is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for mid 30s to start taking profits, and I'm looking for ultimately 40 on that.
yeah. It's definitely had a nice run.
Yeah.
Real nice run. Yeah.
And once a trend starts, it tends to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see. Just looking at, what's coming up, we got Tesla. How you feel
Tesla.
about
Yeah.
them?
I'm a holder. I have Tesla. Let me see where I'm. Tesla's one of my top performers as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I sold 10 shares of Tesla, um, just to diversify a little bit, get into
Hmm.
some gold and a few other things. But I'm still up. Listen, I'm up 187% on Tesla.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of mine. Dollar cost averaging. I don't
There you go.
do it daily like you, but every month I have.
Let me tell you, when I do it daily, right?
Mhm.
There are situations where I go in and I pause it.
Yeah,
Like I'll be like, okay, pause it. The market's a little shifty right now. Let me just pause that. You know what I mean? Or I'll increase it. Like if I have a
yeah,
certain dollar amount on the buy side and it goes to a point where I really want it, I don't now pull the trigger and then do a large position there. I will increase the frequency or increase the amount of the dollar cost averaging program. And the reason
got
I'm
you.
doing this is because I'm not sitting here trying to call myself a genius and say, oh, I'm catching the bottom, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
I am looking at it and saying, you know what? This does look a lot cheaper here, right? And I
Hmm.
do still like the company fundamentally. I do want to increase my ownership percentage in it. So I will,
Hmm.
get more aggressive as far as my accumulation is concerned
Yeah,
of those
I think
shares.
when I do my averaging, I tend to, when I have a surplus of cash, I move it into my brokerage account and I have it there. And as news or certain thing comes and I see the drop, I decide this is what I'm going to do. And then I also every month I go in there and I see how much money is in there, and I start breaking that down and allocating, looking at the ones that I have, my holders, my long terms, and start splitting up like, all right, I'll buy a few more here, buy a few more there. And that's pretty much how I do it. I don't do it on more of a automatic type of averaging. I kind of,
I see. I
you know what I
see.
mean? So that's how I kind of do it.
Yeah. I like the auto piece because I
Hmm.
might forget,
Yeah, I hear you.
you know?
See,
And so,
I got a control problem.
yeah.
Like my wife, she likes to have her bills on auto pay. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I got to see what I'm
Yeah.
paying these people, man. These people, they're gonna rob me, man.
I gotta make the decision if I want to pay you.
Exactly, exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, Tesla for me is I'm looking to see what the earnings is. I know they've been. I don't even look at Tesla honestly. I haven't really looked at it unless I'm looking to buy some more because I feel like Tesla's gonna keep going. It's gonna move in the direction it needs to move, and it's to me Tesla, Nvidia, right now they're kind of Bitcoin. I just keep adding on to it, leaving
Well,
it
if
in
history
there.
is any indication, this time last year it hit 21% on earnings
Mhm.
to the upside. They
Yeah,
reported and the stock skyrocketed, right?
yeah,
But Tesla's one of them ones that, on any pullback, buying it was always a good idea.
Yeah, especially with this leap they just had now. They just jumped, what was it from? Let me see, 350 up to 450 within the month.
Well, you know what it is. Remember Oracle had that jump, and
Yeah, everything piggybacked that one.
Yeah. So Elon
Man,
Musk probably looked up and was like, "Wait a minute, who's the richest man in the world?"
thank you,
Nah.
Oracle. I'm not mad at that at all.
Went back to his shareholders and was like, "We got to fix this."
Yeah. So Tesla's another one of those that, like I have those stocks that, I think everybody should have.
Household name companies.
Yeah, the Googles, the Tesla,
Own where you
Amazon.
shop. Those
Yeah.
type of things. Yeah.
Only one I don't have is Meta.
Yeah, man.
I never got into Meta. I don't know. I don't know why.
Meta
I
has
never got
been,
into Meta.
man, I got people into Meta at the IPO, the day of the IPO. I remember that was a complete fiasco, brother. That one there, I had guys sending money in to buy Meta. We didn't know what the cost basis was because Nasdaq had some reporting outages that day. Man, Meta, and then that thing traded all the way down to $28 a share that day. I remember it because it debuted at like $42 a share. And then because of the discrepancies, the glitches or whatever have you,
Yeah.
ultimately people were selling it and it traded down to $28 a share. But look at it now, man, pays a dividend, $700 a share.
They just started as dividend, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why, man. That's maybe I'm just looking for a drawdown. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
start waiting
Yeah.
for the,
I don't know, man. He's smart. That guy Zuckerberg don't be pissing nobody off, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
He don't piss nobody off, and he kisses the ring quite well. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
stops
I saw
by,
that.
drops off bags of cash, makes promises. $600 billion there, 200 billion there.
Mm-hmm. He knows how
He's
to
got.
play the game.
Listen, he knows how to play the game of politics
Yeah.
very well, very well. So that drawdown that you're looking for,
It
he's
might
going to
not.
have to do something outrageous for that drawdown to happen because too many companies rely on the access that he gives, that the
Yeah.
platform. Yes, because what
It's the
happens is,
number one marketing platform available right now. Number
and
one.
he's giving people. So here's the thing, right? People think that they're engaging with a different company when in fact it's really the illusion of choice because
Mm-hmm.
Meta is the parent company, but they've got Threads, they've got WhatsApp, they've got Instagram, they've
Mm-hmm.
got Facebook, they've got edits now.
Edits,
Edits.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got the Meta glasses, right? The actual Meta glasses. Yo, they bought out a company. I'll never forget this story. Oh, you got your Metas? You got your Meta joints? Are those the
Yes,
heads up
sir.
display?
What's that? The heads up display?
Those are the new ones, the heads up display ones?
Nah, what's that one? I must have missed
They got a
that.
new, man, listen, you know how these companies do. They will give you a little taste of the first generation technology, wait till everybody gobbles it up, and then
And
turn
then
around and
switch
be
it
like,
up.
we got the new one for you. Check this
Mm-hmm.
out. So yeah, the new Meta glasses, they're a bit brockier, chunkier, but they
Mm-hmm.
have a heads up display. Like you can actually see information inside the lens.
They got
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
They got
they
me.
got
You
you. Now,
see,
now you
look,
got to return those, and now you got to order them.
ready. I'm
That's it.
on it. I'm about to text my daughter. She's the one that made me get these. So I'm about to,
I
yep.
use mine all. I use mine all the time, man. Those glasses are amazing because I do a lot of cycling, right? I
Mm-hmm.
actually just did a nice ride last night, and you capture some great content, man, when you're out there
Definitely.
with those glasses,
Definitely.
man. Great,
That's all we be doing between the glasses, the drone, like,
Yeah,
content creation is, that's another
absolutely.
beautiful stream of income that we got going for
Yeah,
ourselves. So
absolutely.
that's always a great thing. But yeah, they did the same thing to me with the Oculus. I finally broke down and got an Oculus, the virtual reality joint.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar.
6 months later, they come out with a whole new one, 10 times better than the one I got.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you
But
though, Meta, yeah, Meta is the reigning champ of social media.
mm-hmm.
I think, in my opinion, the next best thing or the next closest thing that you're going to get to a Meta, in my opinion, is Roblox. Roblox is by way of stickiness with the consumers that they serve.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of the metric, how shareholders view the revenue and the model that they have, right? They operate from a daily active users metric, revenue per an average user, monthly active user. That's how they operate, Roblox.
Yeah.
So stock's actually down 8% today.
Get a couple more. Yeah. I think,
Let me backtrack.
let me
Not
see where
down
I'm at with
8% today.
Roblox.
Down 8% for the month, down
For the
4%
month?
today. Yeah, down 4%, a little close to 4% on that one.
Roblox, which I gotta thank you for that one.
My man.
I'm 80% up 80%.
More
Good on
Robux
that.
for everybody.
More Robux for everybody, man. Why not? I even got a Roblox character, man. I go to the
Yeah.
Polo Island.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, they announced a lot of partnerships with artists and brands and things of that sort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Smart. A lot of implementation of AI with Roblox right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the next when you put the goggles on and you're actually in the game, and you're actually there. I
You
think
can do
that's the
that now?
next. Nah, well, they have certain games that you could play with the goggles, but it's not as immersed as I feel it's gonna be in the future with Roblox. So there's some games that you could play on the Oculus and stuff like that, but it's not quite there yet where I feel it could get. But I know we was talking about some real estate earlier.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
See, you got some good things going on in the real estate area. I'm over here. Well, we finally. I think I told you we had that big deal that we're supposed to be closing soon. So both sides are happy. So we're gonna move forward. Gonna be a
Okay.
nice commission for that one. But I'm just trying to find another flip, and then maybe start building up the portfolio as we was talking about earlier. I think it's time to just start really concentrating on building that portfolio. My daughter's out there in Long Island paying damn near $3,000 rent, and I can't. That just hurts me. That's just like, wow. Listen, we about to get you right. We're gonna buy you a house out here, whether you move out here or not. We're gonna get you a house, hopefully a duplex or something, where if you choose to stay out there, at least it'll cover a big chunk of your rent that you're paying out there. Or if you decide to move out here, you could pretty much live for free by renting out one side of it. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
that Long Island, that is ridiculous. And then she's by the water, so I think last week she calls me and like the water is almost coming into her car. She
Where's she
doesn't know
at?
what to
What
do.
town?
She's in Lindenhurst. Like she
Yep.
could walk to the docks.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah. She's
she's right
definitely in the
there.
flood zone. She's definitely
She's
in a
right
flood
there
prone
by the
area. Yeah.
Venetian, yeah, by Venetian shores and all of that. And I'm like, don't start your car. Get your man out there. Tell him to push that car up to dry area. Do not start the car. And they're walking and sending me videos. The water was like almost right below the knee,
Mm.
coming into the house and everything. I'm like, man, for $3,000 a month. But yeah, that being said, that's what I want to set her up in a, where she could have her own property and as well as build my portfolio as well. So definitely look into that.
Over here in New York, we just passed a law that is allowing people to convert their basements. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
this is in the boroughs. I'm not sure if this applies to Long Island. I know on Long Island, there's a big push for ADUs right now, and that's on
Mm-hmm.
a town by town basis.
You
But
know,
as
in Long
far as the
Island, we fix our
boroughs,
basements up ourselves and just don't tell nobody.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I know.
I would just say this, man. The one thing that concerns me is
Mm-hmm.
that with the passage, because government typically tends to be reactive and not proactive.
Proactive.
Right, right. So in that lens, if they pass something that's saying, "Oh, we're allowing you to convert your basements and your attics, right, into legal living space," a couple of things are going to happen. You should get an increase in values if the values are going to be based on the rental income, because now you have those legal basements and legal attics or whatever have you that are
Bringing
now
more revenue.
generating cash flow. Okay. I also believe that rents are going to continue to tick to the upside. So right now, we're in the middle of an upcoming election as far as New York City mayor is concerned.
Mayor.
And I have it, as I understand it, Mayor Adams is not going to be running, and the candidate that is running or that is getting talked about the most is talking about a rent freeze. And as I understand it, if he does get in and execute a rent freeze, it's not going to have the intended outcome that he was anticipating. He's not going to get the outcome that he was anticipating. I just think that, landlords, real estate investors that take on the risk of owning these properties have to deal with ridiculous circumstances.
A lot.
Tenants that can squat on your property, rent control laws, all kind of things that just make it real difficult to operate a rental business in and around New York City. So, yeah, I think the rents are going to continue to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And, I understand you're saying that New York is expensive, but it's the greatest city in the world.
Yeah, I still love New York. It's a love-hate relationship. I still love New York,
It
man.
very much is. You hate to see them price tags, but you love New York.
Love New York. There's no nightlife like New York, man.
Man, you got that right.
I want to run something else by you that I was looking into. I was listening to another podcast and they brought it up, so I started doing research, and it was what's it called, the tokenization of real estate. You've heard about it?
I'm very familiar. I have a friend of mine who owns a private equity firm who introduced that concept to me, I want to say in 2022.
Okay.
And he had mentioned that was the direction that things were going to go. And talking about that, I recall him mentioning that was going to be a big thing in some of these war-torn countries where they don't have property lines and things of that sort. So the tokenization would be able to help solve for that, right? But the thing is, as far as real estate is concerned, when a piece of real estate changes hands, there's a lot of hands that are involved. But if tokenization really, really grows legs, like he's talking about, a lot of those hands will be eliminated. There won't be a necessity for it because there'll be a proof of work, proof of claim. There'll cryptocurrency proof, so to speak, that confirms the ownership. And, so that is coming. I know for a fact that that's coming. Like I said, he was talking about that 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's definitely something as far as the deeds and and all the proof of ownership and everything. But what I was looking into, which is a little different, is with everything going on with the AI and the blockchain. Basically, you're selling tokens for real estate on a blockchain. So it's going to work well with more commercial, even residential, but cash flowing properties. So let's say we have a commercial property. Let's just say it's 100 doors, 100 units in there, and what you could do is tokenize it. So now each token will cost, let's say, $1,000. So everybody will buy in. So now this is a way to have ownership in these and be able to invest and receive residual incomes from them, and everything will be on the blockchain. Like you said, it eliminates a lot of other hands getting money involved, and it automatically pays out to the people involved. So I was kind of looking into it and trying to figure out how does it work and what does. So I found the company realty.co. So it's REAL, the letter T.co. But what I found out is that it's not completely legal in America yet, at least not for Americans to do with American property. But if you're...
Why?
That's what I need to look deeper into, because people in China could do it and buy American property, which they're doing at a large amount. People in Saudi Arabia can buy American property like that, which they're doing at a large amount. And again, there's ways where you can do it from America if you're savvy and you know how to VPNs and a lot of other things. But that's what I was wondering. That's why I was like, let me see if Paul knows about this, because it's like, why is it illegal for us to do it, but somebody from another country can do it here and own the property and reap the benefits from it?
I will speak to my opinion as to why it's illegal here to do it. And I will ask you a question.
Okay.
When you go to these real estate closings, who do you see at the real estate closings besides the customer? In terms of, we're talking about the cogs that make the whole transaction work. Who do you see for the most part?
Title company, who pretty much collects all the fees and everything for the town, the county, the state, and everything like that. Transfer taxes and stuff like that.
Keep going. Appraisers, the appraisers, right?
Yeah, we have the
Don't
appraisers.
forget about those guys with the valuations, right?
Valuations, yeah.
Right. And we've had reports of valuations coming in differently than they should have, depending on who owns the property.
And who's the appraiser too.
Right, right. Or whose pictures are on the wall when they go to appraise the subject property.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's true.
So just pay close attention to that. So understand that if something, because again, back to something that Elon Musk has said, and I live by this. I love it. When I heard him say it, it was just one of the most profound things I heard in a long time. He said, laws are immortal and they seldom change. And so if that passes, where now, it's tokenization of real estate transactions, understand the implications and all of the jobs. You think AI was eliminating jobs before?
Oh yeah.
Now you want to come in and tokenize real estate? I tell people all the time, when a piece of real estate changes hands, it's like an elephant dies in the jungle. Everybody eats. Everybody eats off of the back of the person that's buying and selling. There's two people that come and they meet to shake hands, the owner of the property and the person interested in buying it. And when those two people shake hands, it's like a supernova happens and a whole bunch of people get to eat. So just keep in mind that, tokenization, as you mention it, if and when it does pass, it is going to have some serious implications.
And even taking that a little bit deeper, there's BV Solutions. So now what they're doing is it's an AI software that's allowing residential and commercial to transfer their interest rate when buying a new property by keeping it on the blockchain. So basically, if you have a 4% interest rate and you go to buy another property, you could transfer your interest rate to that new property, and then whoever buys your old property will get whatever the current interest rate is. But they're looking at doing that through using like AI software and on the blockchain.
I got a question for you. Where did you see that?
It was like I was listening to a podcast. I saved it too. I'll send it to you.
You know what it sounds like? One of the concerns I have is you're transferring an interest rate and the person who originally guaranteed that mortgage, are we talking about a full recourse loan? Or are we talking about limited recourse or no recourse? Because no recourse, I could see something like that working out, right? Because it's like, there's no recourse. The recourse is the property itself. But if it's a full recourse situation and the person who originally bought the property personally guaranteed it, now you got a situation where you're trying to change the property's hands in terms of ownership and keep that interest rate in place.
Yeah. So, it definitely has to go through.
Loan assumable?
I know now if it's a FHA loan, sometimes when somebody's buying your house and it's a FHA loan, you could transfer your interest rate to them. I know that's capable of doing now.
When the loan is assumable.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like right now it could only be a FHA loan. But
I see.
With this, what they're saying is like they're doing it through transferable mortgage bonds, and of course it has to go through a whole risk analysis.
Yeah.
So, but it's being done. It's being done.
Well, yeah, that's it. Listen, the mother of all invention is situations that we're dealing with persistently high interest rates, right? So that's where people come up with these solutions.
Exactly.
And entrepreneurs solve problems at a profit. That's what an entrepreneur is. So you got that situation where people keep thinking these rates are going to drop down to the threes. It ain't happening. It's just not happening. I just don't see it happening. So you may get one or two more interest rate cuts, but as I tell people in the banking industry, there's a bit of controlled demolition going on as far as these interest rates are concerned.
Yeah, yeah. And I just think this whole tokenization and the old transfer, it's just going to really, really cause a lot of tension and turbulence in the whole real estate area, especially like you said, a lot of these people who are going to get cut out the deal, they're not going to be too happy. So, they're definitely going to push back against that. So, but in some instances, it can be a tool for people. I definitely like the tokenization, the way that sounds, being able to get a piece of these big units and, profit off of it. But again, we're not, as United States citizens, we don't have the right to do that.
Yeah, I love the whole concept of tokenization and crypto in the space of real estate for the sake of properly surveying properties in countries that don't have the survey capabilities that we're accustomed to here in America, right? namely like a Haiti, right?
Haiti. I was about to
Specifically a
say
Haiti,
that.
right?
Yeah, we're
Because you
going through
could
that
buy a piece
now.
of property. Yeah, you could buy a piece of property and then come back to New York and then come back a few years later and find a hut on your property because now just somebody just assumed that, you know what, it's my property now.
Yep.
So there's definitely, I think that the tokenization would help that,
See, it would help, but in the state of Haiti, our country where we both have family there and everything, it's like we have a property there and it just overrun. So I don't think it doesn't matter if we have tokenization or whatever. This is our property now.
Right.
That's
No,
how
but
they're on it over there.
the thing is that you have that property, but
Mm-hmm.
the property lines and the enforceability of that is what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
That's what the tokenization solves. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's lots going on by way of that. All I know is that, listen, the president, the current administration established a strategic reserve under certain cryptocurrencies. And when you see these knee jerk reactions in the crypto space, don't forget about that because there's a couple of things that the US government never sells, and that's their national parks, their gold reserves, and now their crypto.
Truth. That's the
Mm-hmm.
truth. Yep. But yeah, it's been a lot of stuff going on everywhere. Real estate, stocks, everything. People just gotta do their due diligence, figure out where they fit in, and make the moves that fit their lifestyle, their family, and their needs, and work for the future them, work for the future me.
Yeah, 100%. The person that you're dealing with today, when you look in the mirror, that person is going to need more money 10 years from now. There's not a shadow of a doubt. Things are just going to cost more money. There's nothing that you or I seem to be able to do about this, right? The buying power of the US dollar has diminished by 10% this year. The year's not even done. And now they're already forecasting an additional 10%, erosion to the buying power of the dollar. That's why you're seeing certain asset classes go up the way that they're going up because people are looking for shelter right now. Inflation is just capital destruction. And so, I would just say that, pick a side. Just don't be outside. You know what I'm saying? Don't be outside
Don't get
without
caught
something that hedges
outside without your
don't
umbrella.
without something that hedges you against inflation. Don't do this to yourself. And I didn't know is not an excuse anymore. I saw a crazy stat. What's this guy? Mr. Jamal Bryant. I follow him on Instagram. He had said that he said 82% of black people do not own a single share of stock. I was floored
Mm-hmm.
by that statistic.
I've seen that.
Absolutely floored by that statistic.
Yep.
Just when you think that, the financial literacy space, there's no room, that's not true. You would think that the financial literacy space is saturated. Clearly, we're not spreading the message hard enough
No.
because if 82% of people of color don't own stocks, I mean, that's like the easiest thing to own. I can understand if you say real estate, there's a credit qualifier for that.
Yeah.
There's an income qualifier for that. There's an ability to repay the loan. I get that, right? There's lenders that, may engage in predatory practices or redlining, all kind of obstacles that you can run into. But the stock market is colorblind by way of ownership. There is
Yep.
no barrier to entry. You don't even need a credit check to open up a brokerage account.
And with platforms like Robinhood making it so easy, it's like there's no reason not to. But again, it's not having the education or the knowledge or the people around them pushing it. And you can't even blame it on that. People have to be hungry for it. You know what I
Right.
mean? They have to really want to do something because it doesn't
They got to
matter
want
how
to
much
change.
you don't matter how much you beat it in their head or repeat and repeat. If they don't want to change, if they just stuck in that, then sometimes you just gotta let them be stuck.
I
My
just
mom
hold
always
access.
told me,
I just hold them hostage. Please tell me. No, I want to hear what mom said, please, because I need this OG. I need OG wisdom.
my mom always told me it was like you can't what she said, you don't she used to say, and she said in Creole, and I'm not going to even say it in Creole because I'm not going
Come
to get
on, you got
hacked
to
by
give
all
it
the
a
real
shot.
Haitians out there. Nah, we're not doing that. But it was basically saying like you can't be clean if you always playing in the mud. And she used to say like always like you have friends and you have certain friends and it's good you do stuff from them, but you keep going down there and playing in the mud, you're gonna always be dirty. You build yourself up and you make yourself a light for other people to follow. That's how you know what I mean? That's what she used to always hit us in the head. And her favorite saying was always be the lender, not the borrower, be the head and not the tail. You know, I know she got that from the Bible, but she used to beat that in our head over and over and over growing up. And you know, back then you used to be like, this fucking lady, man. But now that I look back and I listen to everything, it's like, you know, moms knew what she was talking about. And I take that a lot. It's like, you know, a lot of people and friends of myself, I feel like they get so caught up in trying to portray this lifestyle or be something, and um tending to people that don't want to change, don't want to move, and then they get caught up in those situations and it destroys everything that they're building and they're trying to do. So again, it's like you always want, like we said in the last episode, you always want to put it out there, put the information out there, let it be known that you're willing to help and everything like that. But you can't always jump down in the mud and carry people out. You know what I mean? Because what happens is they end up stepping on you and you get stuck in the mud and they keep going.
I'll tell you like this. 82% is still a lot of people, though. We got work to do.
Whole lot. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've got work to do by way of sharing the message, right? And so, guys, the easiest way to do this is to own where you shop. Just investigate your bank statement, right? It don't even got to be that hard. Just investigate your bank statement. Look at your phone. Your phone tells you where you're spending the most time on your phone, right? Time is money. So if you're spending a bunch of time on Meta, on Facebook, then you should be owning Meta stock, right? If you're spending a bunch of time on the Google app or whatever platforms you're spending on, YouTube, you should be owning Google, right? You should be owning these stocks. And the reason why you own them is because you get to leverage the efforts and time of trained, qualified professionals who have been given a task to work for a highly successful company. And when they produce results, you get to participate in the profits with that company. I can't stress it enough, right? It's a cheat code. When I buy shares, listen, I can have one of my worst enemies work for a publicly traded company, and guess what? He's still putting paper in my pocket. And there's nothing he could do about it because I bought those shares, and that's just the way it is, right? I'm a share owner, and I just tell him, listen, you got beef with me, just get back to work, man, and we'll settle it up at the next quarterly earnings report, man. We'll be all right. You do what you got to do. I gave my money to the company, and you got this job description that you got to fulfill, and that's it. That's it. But yeah, I would say that you definitely got to own where you shop. Ignorance is no excuse, and they've removed all of the excuses. They've given you partial ownership. They've given you free access to information. Some of these platforms give you access to premium information.
Yeah.
But 82% is a ridiculous number, and we got lots of work to do.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up from here.
Yes, sir.
Good Money Podcast. No signing off. 82%. We working on changing that.
Yeah, we got to change those numbers. Guys, it's Good Money Pal here with the Good Money Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. My parting message to you guys is you should definitely consider owning where you shop, because that is the path in terms of building wealth through consumption. The companies that we use and engage with on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, you start there. Okay, this is the easiest way for you to start building a portfolio for yourself, and your future self will thank you for your discipline and attention to this. I hope this message finds you in good health and spirit. Good Money Podcast, Good Money Pal, signing off. Until next time.
All right, now we out. Well said, brother.
Peace.